When the church was organized in 1830, everybody was first-generation Mormon. And so that meant they all came with attitudes, expectations, biases from their own upbringing. You had a whole range of attitudes towards music and hymn books. You have this example of Rachel Ivins, whose grandparents were Quakers, and singing was not a part of their tradition. And so she would sneak off to sing to her dolls away from the house because that was actually offensive to her family to be singing at all. So when the church was organized, there were questions about, do we sing in church at all? What kinds of things do we sing? And the only real revelation that we have on those questions is this revelation directed to Emma Smith in July of 1830.
And it shall be given thee also to make a selection of sacred hymns to be had in my church. For my soul delighteth in the song of the heart. Yea, the song of the righteous is a prayer unto me. Doctrine and Covenants 25, 11 through 12.
It's hard to imagine the church without music, and that's why this revelation was so very important. For my soul delighteth in the song of the heart. I mean, that's almost poetry in and of itself.
The revelation instructed Emma to make a selection of sacred hymns, which was an unusual responsibility given to a woman at that time. Men generally took on that responsibility in their various churches and denominations. And the fact that a woman was given this responsibility was really exciting. The hymns that she selected said something about who they were, who the Latter-day Saints were, and what they believed.
Emma's task of selecting hymns began simply. She found existing songs that might have new meaning in light of the Restoration for the earliest church members to sing in meetings. W. W. Phelps, a printer and newspaper writer, soon joined the church, and in 1832, he was assigned to adapt the lyrics of the songs Emma chose and print them in the church's newspaper.
He is correcting, quote unquote, those hymns that are selected, as he was directed to do by the High Council, in a number of ways that are interesting because they reveal the attitudes, I think, that were fundamental to the church. For example, Joy to the World, the Lord has come. Well, he changed it to something called The Second Coming of Christ. That's the title he put on it, as Joy to the World, the Lord will come. In addition to this millennialism that Phelps introduces, he takes first-person singular hymns and changes them to first-person plural. So I becomes we. I'm not ashamed to own my Lord. He changes to we're not ashamed to own our Lord. So it's not about the individual soul's approach to God, but the community's.
But the project of printing hymns in the newspaper was interrupted when the Saints printing press in Missouri was attacked and destroyed. The church set up a new press in Ohio, where Emma Smith and W. W. Phelps began work on a hymn book.
In Ohio, we have really the flowering of the first generation of Mormon hymn writers. We have Phelps writing his own hymns, and they're pretty grand, glorious, visionary hymns in the church. We have Parley Pratt, who is writing a little bit more formal hymns, and we have Lizar Snow writing hymns, poems and hymns being kind of the same thing. This book, this little pocket-sized book of texts only, no musical notation in it, is the first LDS hymn book. It bears the date of 1835, probably didn't come out till 1836, because the last hymn in this hymn book is The Spirit of God Like a Fire is Burning, which was not even composed until the front end of 1836, looking towards the dedication of the Kirtland Temple.
And so with that great hymn of W. W. Phelps that was written for the occasion. The saints were indeed welcoming the Lord.
I believe it was the first Mormon composed tune. That tune in itself is a kind of revelation. It embodies so much, we can't even think about dedicating a temple without singing that particular tune. That's pretty amazing.
There's something about bringing many people together from many walks of life who unite their energy, unite their efforts, unite their talents with many others to make something that is far, far greater than yourself.
Mormons are a singing people. The great Mormon Tabernacle Choir being what so many people know about Mormonism itself. And I think this is part of the magnificent legacy of the book and the revelation.